Hey everybody, welcome back for another video. Today we're going to be talking about Greenland, and we're going to investigate all of the ice that has formed there and potentially when did that happen. Because we're being told it's millions of years where that giant ice sheet has formed, but maybe it's thousands of years. So it should be interesting. Let's get into it. Now, as mentioned, Greenland is covered by I believe it's the world's second largest ice sheet. So approximately 80% of Greenland is actually covered by ice. Focusing on Greenland, it's my speculation that giant ice sheet that is now sitting on Greenland was actually formed maybe thousands of years ago and not millions. And some of my reasoning for that has to do with the Vikings, and we're going to get into that. But before we do, I just want to mention that there have been a lot of things revealed about what's underneath the ice in Greenland. And scientists have discovered we're being told anyway, million-year-old fossilized plants beneath Greenland ice sheet. So there have been a lot of studies looking at what's underneath the ice, which apparently is about a mile thick, but they have found perfectly preserved plant fossils beneath this mile of ice. And they go on to mention in this article that ice sheets typically pulverize and destroy everything in their path. But what they discovered was delicate plant structures perfectly preserved. They're fossils, but they look like they died yesterday. So I just found it interesting that the way they tell us these ice sheets typically move in these glaciers, they destroy everything in their path. But here, it appears everything has been perfectly preserved. So I think this ice has formed extremely fast, and I think it's thousands potentially of years old, not millions. And some of the reasons why I think that, as previously mentioned, it's because of the Vikings. Now, we're going to tie it to the Roman Empire as well, but there's a mystery surrounding Greenland and the Vikings, and that mystery is, why did Greenland's Vikings disappear? Because there are ruins, they have found or uncovered farms and a couple of settlements on Greenland, but what actually happened to the Vikings remains a mystery. So all that's left are traces that they were there, just an enduring mystery. And we're told that the Vikings established settlements here and they occupied Greenland for hundreds of years, but then they just completely vanished sometime, we're told, during the 15th century. So it's considered one of the most mysterious chapters of Arctic history. What happened to the Viking settlements? Again, I think that the settlements are older than we're being told, and I think the Vikings suffered the same fate that the Roman Empire suffered, this Roman apocalypse that I touch on in many videos. And I think the timeline has been manipulated to make us think the Vikings came at a later point in the timeline. According to the official history, after the Vikings abandoned this site, these two sites in the 1400s, Europeans didn't return to Greenland until the early 1700s. And when they did, they found the ruins of the Viking settlements, but no trace of the inhabitants. So they speculate that the numbers of Vikings were in the thousands, and they found many farms. So there's a lot of theories as to what happened to the Vikings, but it's my speculation that the same event that been postulating that took out the Roman Empire, or what we call the Roman Empire, actually also took out the people occupying Northern Europe, the Vikings. And again, we're told that the Vikings occupied this period of time in the 8th, 9th, 10th centuries AD. But I think they actually coexisted with the Roman Empire. And just some of the reasons, if you look at a lot of the artifacts, such as coins, a lot of Roman coins are found in these Viking sites. And these coins, some of them are extremely low value coins, some silver coins, not just gold. So the question is, why were they holding on to these Roman coins for hundreds of years, even though they have very little value? And they give some theories, but I think it's because they coexisted with each other. And you can find Roman coins in many different locations, including Iceland. And you can just look to many different artifacts. There was a Roman bronze figure representing the Greek figure Silenus that was found on this Danish island. But what's interesting about that is that the find, according to the official history, dates to the time of Rome's first emperor, Augustus. And Augustus, he reigned until the 1st century AD. But again, the Vikings, they existed, we're told, much later, like the 8th, 9th, 10th century. So what is this Roman bronze figure doing there? And it suggests that there was close contact between the Roman Empire and Scandinavia. So you can look at a lot of different artifacts, but they seem to all indicate that the Vikings, the Romans coexisted, and the speculation is that Rome was destroyed by this apocalyptic event, which would have affected the Vikings. And if you want to find out more about that, you can watch this video called The Timeline Manipulation. Towards the end of the video, there's a segment on the Vikings. So just getting back to some more evidences potentially. In one of the settlements on Greenland called the Western Settlement, they also refer to this farm as the farm beneath the sand, because a lot of these Viking farms, they found them buried under a layer of sand and gravel up to 1.5 meters thick, so about 5 feet. But again, it's my speculation. All this was affected during this apocalyptic event that took out the Roman Empire. And I think a lot of the ice actually formed during that time, preserving a lot of these areas, including potential forests. And I think they said there were giant sequoia trees that were at one point existed on Greenland, redwoods. So a lot of different trees and plant life. So I thought that was interesting. So that's one potential evidence, what makes me think the ice is much younger. And another one, and this ties to the Roman Empire again in Greenland, within the ice cores of Greenland, they have found emissions from all the Roman silver mining. Pollution from all the silver mining that the Romans were doing shows up in the ice, these ice cores. When they study them, they find traces of all this pollution, and it's been trapped within the ice. So I think that is another potential indicator, which might tell us that this ice is actually, it was formed thousands of years ago, not millions of years ago. But a lot of pollution has settled onto glaciers, and they were trapped in the ice. So that was another thing that ties to the Roman Empire, which ties to the Vikings, according to what I'm theorizing here. So that was a second thing. And third potential indicator that when they tell us things are millions of years old, they might actually be thousands of years old. It's this mining operation in Germany, not too far from Cologne, Germany. There's this surface mine where they extract coal, and you can see these giant excavators here. They have uncovered ancient Roman ruins buried in Germany's coal region and at this particular mining operation. So they've also found some of these Roman ruins are a Roman villa floor plan discovered on the edge of the open pit mine in 2022. And they've also found an aqueduct. The aqueduct, I think they say, dates to the 3rd century AD. So we're, even by official history, we're dealing with thousands of years. But the Roman aqueduct, they found it underneath this sediment that they tell us is potentially 1 million years old. So in more recent articles, they're now saying that this sediment was deposited 1,000 years ago or thousands of years ago. But the narrative has been shifting on the date of all this sediment. It's like sand and gravel. So they've gone from millions of years to thousands of years. So things can change very quickly. So when you see Greenland, and they're telling us again, to a large degree, the ice formed 2 million years ago or so. But as you can see it with this coal mine, they shifted their dates from million years to thousands of years. So these dates that they give us can shift dramatically, and once again tie to the Roman Empire and some massive events. And as I've tried to point out, I think there's ties to this Roman apocalyptic event that affected Greenland as well, and the Vikings. And I think I'm just trying to touch on how when they tell us things are millions of years old, they may actually be thousands of years old, and in particular with connection to the Roman Empire. So I think that's about all I got for you today. I just wanted to point out some of these things, and I do want to give a big shout out to my channel members. Thank you for all your help and support. Greatly appreciated. As well as my patrons, thank you for all of your support as well, and everything you do it's also greatly appreciated. So thank you very much. So with that being said, until next time, take care. Bye.